Hello, my name is Dave Russell. I am a student at Mid America Christian University in the Christian Ministries Department. The instructor for this course on the pastor's role in church administration is Dr. Julie Nance. Our text for this course is Leadership Handbook of Management and Administration, which is edited by James K. Berkeley. The particular chapter that I have selected for the topic of this video is Crisis and Conflict, which was written by William Willimon. Mr. Willimon stated that he was looking at a book entitled Church Fights by Speed Leaks and Paul Kittilus, and they listed three ways that conflict is experienced in the church. There are intrapersonal conflicts, and those are conflicts that occur within the individual. They are conflicted within themselves about how to proceed, about what to do or what not to do. There are interpersonal conflicts, and those are conflicts that are between individuals, different personalities. They are personality conflicts between individuals, and they are not related to issues. And then finally, there are substantive conflicts, and those are conflicts that are over issues. They're not personality related, but they are over issues within the church. Now, when it comes to conflicts in the church, there can be one of these individual issues that can cause the conflict, or it can be a combination of two or all three of these issues that result in a conflict within the church. Excuse me. When it comes to the substantive conflict, there are four types of substantive conflict that our text lists. There is a conflict over the facts of a situation. Those can be things that one person interprets one way, another person interprets a different way, and because they cannot resolve that, a conflict arises. There can be a conflict over the methods or the means of how a particular project is going to be accomplished. This may be personality related, it may be substantive, it could be any combination of those, but because the method and the means are not resolved, a conflict arises. There can be a conflict over the ends and the goals that this particular project is trying to achieve. Clear communication might be able to resolve that, but if it's not understood, a conflict can arise over the goal that we're trying to achieve. And then finally, there can be a conflict over the values. This could be the values or address or assault the values of the church, or what are interpreted to be the values of the church. It could be personal values. One person feels like, hey, we're not doing it that way. That's not how we are. That's not who we are. And a conflict can arise over that. So when it comes to trying to resolve conflicts, information is gold. I cannot state enough and emphasize enough how important good, objective information is. Get as much information as you can about the issue, about the history, about the individuals, about the history of the church when it comes to conflict resolution. If you are new to the church and you're dealing with a conflict for the first time, the folks in the church may have been there before, and it's important for you to get as much information as you can, which leads to the second point, which is to buy time. It takes time to acquire the information. It also is important to take time to allow emotions and tempers to cool off. When people are less emotional, they are more logical, and they will be better able and willing to be part of the solution when it comes to conflict resolution. You need to assess the individuals that are involved in the conflict. You need to know who these folks are. You need to know their history with conflict. Are they problem solvers? Are they problem creators? Are they part of the problem or are they part of the solution? What's their history? And then you also need to assess the temperature emotionally of the issue. How's this thing work? What do people do? How do they handle conflict? How hot is this? How big of a deal is this with the church? Is this something that is really going to be a big problem? Or is this something that we can nip in the bud and we can get it solved quickly? So to develop some strategies to deal with conflict resolution, I want to deviate from the text here just a little bit and draw on some of my own personal experience when it comes to conflict resolution in my job in the fire service. I put out a lot of people fires in the fire service, probably more of those than I did house fires. I think it is imperative that you get all of the parties involved in the same room at the same time so that everybody involved can hear what the other person has to say. Oftentimes, statements that are made outside of an individual's presence will be differently stated when they're in the presence of that individual that is involved. If you get everyone in the room at the same time, you can get a better temperament, a better measure of their temperament, a better measure of their emotions, and it won't be a he said, she said type of debate. Everybody can hear what's going on. I also think that when you do that, everybody can know and understand what the facts of the conflict are. And it's critical to emphasize here that understanding the facts. Your interpretation of a set of facts may be different than my interpretation, and so that may be part of the conflict. That may be part of that substantive conflict that has arisen because you see a set of facts one way and I see them a different way. That's important to get that strategy, to get those facts out on the table and arrive at and understand what the facts mean. Get the history of the conflict. What is the church history when it comes to dealing with conflict? What are the individuals' history when it comes to dealing with conflict? That's important. It's important to understand what they are, how they've done things in the past, and what their history is with getting conflict resolution. So in conclusion, I think these are the things that we can take away from this and that can help us better understand how to deal with conflict. It is critical that we honestly evaluate the conflict, honestly evaluate the individuals, honestly evaluate ourselves as we attempt to intervene and bring resolution to the conflict. Open, honest assessment is very important. We need to state the goal of the conflict at the very outset. What are we after? What are we trying to accomplish? What's the mission? And then it is important to, if you will, borrow from the military, a lessons learned type of approach. Now that we've identified the conflict, now that we've addressed the conflict, where do we go from here? How do we avoid this happening in the future? What steps, what measures can we take as a church organization to better operate and be stewards of God's Word and of God's kingdom? Thank you very much.